since I've been at home, I've been like, let me try and do what I don't usually have time to do. I love the UK, and I was like, oh, Premier Gospel, that's the UK. So I have a lot of friends in London, isn't it? And sorry. Uh, so I figured I would take a time and do it.
I love that, man. I love that. I like that. You check your message requests
when I have time.
It's appreciated. It's much appreciated. But yeah, man, I just want to talk to you about anything and everything.
Okay.
Starting off with your career.
Sure.
Because I found you online. That's where I found you. I remember I started watching your videos years ago, and I was like, this guy's funny. I do videos as well. I do comedy in it. So I scouted to see who was doing what and like who's popping and who's up there and who's what's everyone doing and how did they do it. And so that's how I found you, man. But where did you actually start? Is that where you started online, or did you do stuff offline and then move online?
I started offline. I started doing stand-up when I was 16 in high school. That was the first time that I did it. I wouldn't say I was trying to be a pro at that time. I just wanted to see if I could do it. In college, I did plays. I did, theater. I wouldn't say I minored in theater, but I'd say I took a lot of acting classes. I didn't start focusing on online until probably about 2012 when a play we were doing, we were trying to get it purchased and made, and it didn't happen. And we were getting ready to quit and just give up. And I was like, man, before we do that, let's try one more time. Let's try and put our videos on YouTube. Maybe that'll give us a bigger audience across the nation, and then we can do our plays. And the first two videos went viral. We uploaded them the same night, both on the Playmakers channel, and they both went viral. And that, like, ever since that day, we were like, videos, we do this now.
This is it now.
This is the thing we do now.
That's how did they go viral then? Like, was that a planned thing, or did you?
Well, I think the one thing I had studied the internet while I was working my day job, and I copied trends a lot, like, hopped on trends and did things, my way or our way. So the first thing was stuff girls say was going viral, and we did stuff Black parents say and stuff Black church girls say. And neither of those had been done before. And I mean, the response was immediate. So I think the plan was to make people laugh and do videos that we hadn't seen, which the Black church, there hadn't been a lot of videos about the Black church at all on YouTube. So we focused on that. Then I kind of started making my own videos just because I wanted to talk about stuff that wasn't the Black church. And, and then I just kept doing that over and 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 over.
And it worked. It absolutely worked, man. And here you are.
Yeah.
Multi-millionaire, I'm guessing.
I'm $17. $17
an air, then, sounds just as good. So you're talking about your church life. You have a very obvious church roots and, throughout all what you do. And you're a comedian as well, which, I mean, for me, I don't really find that because, I mean, me doing comedy and being a Christian, sometimes I found it slightly conflicting in that you don't know what lines you can cross. You don't know if you could say that, and you see other comedians, with all the obscenity, and it works. So you're thinking, well, I can't do that because obviously you can't, can you? Have you found similar conflicts in your career?
Absolutely. I mean, I think one thing that I've kind of just decided is that I won't do anything that makes me feel like I've crossed the line. But the line is relative to the person looking. What I find funny, everybody is offended by everything. And I don't mean like we live in a PC culture. I mean, everything you post offends somebody. I posted a video of my kids kissing me on the cheek one time, and this guy was like, them boys are gonna be soft. We're not raising real men anymore. And I was like, okay, like at this point, it doesn't matter what you do, somebody's always gonna be offended by it. So that was kind of actually freeing to know that as long as I don't cross my personal line, like I don't degrade women. I don't post fight videos. I don't have sexually, I don't have like a lot of sex based content. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm married, so I talk about sex in that sense, but it's not like a core tenet of my comedy. And, you know, especially with the church, people can be very particular, you know, and I understand that about, you know, God and religion and what's sacred to them. So I just know that with every video I post, somebody's going to love it, somebody's going to hate it, somebody's going to be offended. And then just knowing that from the beginning just makes it easier because you just aren't as surprised when people don't like it. I remember one time somebody commented, my wife, we get on each other about talking over each other, right? And my wife had made a video or, you know, a podcast episode, and she did her best job at not talking over her guests. And everybody in the comments was like, great job, Liz, blah, blah, blah. This one person was like, she still doesn't do a good job of this. And my wife responded like, I'm doing my best. And the person said, oh girl, I'm sorry, I'm just having a bad day. And I lashed out at you. And I was like, people be mad for a variety of reasons, none of which have to do with you. And also it could be a child you're arguing with online, which is a waste of time. So thinking about all that, now that doesn't mean I don't care about criticism. Like if I'm rightly criticized by, you know, fans, and I'm like, you know what, that's right, that's fair. You know, I have deleted some videos that come across wrong or tone deaf or not, you know, some information is wrong or not coming across how it's like, I'm not ridiculous. I don't be like, I'm never gonna delete anything. But I just don't, you know, I don't go to the comments to decide what's morally acceptable to me. Cause you know, that's, if I read every comment, I would never post a video.
Yeah, you'd have to tailor everything to everyone in it, which is the thing to do. Back on the Christian community, so do you feel like the church on a whole has embraced what you do, or do you feel like they have been more critical than people in the world?
You know, I will say that surprisingly, it's not that. Making fun of the church has not been that critical. People get the comedy in that, the humor in that. I think people can tell that I'm not being malicious. The thing a lot of church people have been critical of is this one video series I did called Ask, where I would ask people of different religious backgrounds, belief, work history, blah, 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 questions. And I had like a porn star, transgender person, gay people, things like that. That specific video series probably upset the church the most, but you know, the comedy stuff, it's mostly supportive. Always some, you know, body not liking it, but not much more than any other video that other people don't like. So it's just that one video series they and I say they, that's even that people who didn't like it was also a small portion, but it was a larger portion than the other stuff.
I want to get your thoughts on some topics as well. So when you look at people like Justin Bieber, Kanye West, who come out now and they're all for God, a lot of people criticize them and their work, and they say, well, I mean, if you was all for God, then you'd make stuff that is more godly, and you wouldn't make this music that's like this and that. And
listen, man, first of all, I never get into the business of judging somebody else's heart. Like, how do I know what they are feeling when they are singing, when they are working? You don't know what them people are going through. Justin Bieber or John Jones. Like, I'm never going to get in the business of that, right? And two, how pompous of us to be the decider of what's pure worship and what's pure of heart. Only God knows people's hearts, you know? So like, I never get into that. If Kanye feels like he's being led, you know, like I feel like we be so protective of God. Like we can't, this is our God. You worship him the way we want. Like I think we be Pharisees and Sadducees. We think we're being helpful, but we really just want to keep God all to ourselves, and we want things to happen the exact way they always happen, and anything outside of the norm we don't like, and we'll be the judges of if your heart is pure, if you should lead work. Man, nah. And that's who Jesus was most upset about in the Bible. It wasn't sinners. It was overly religious people who ended up being a block to the average person. So I love Justin Bieber singing gospel. I love him singing Never Would Have Made It. I love if Kanye wants to come to church and have church, like Kanye, whether you agree with him or not and all that stuff, like if he believes he is worshiping God and he's coming to church, how am I going to be the person who tells him he's not? You know what I mean? I don't really get into that. I want everybody to love God and experience God and all the fullness of his joy. and I'm not going to be the one to tell them you can't.
The Bible is full of people that have been doing crazy stuff, but yeah,
everybody in the Bible was
everyone's
trash.
mad. They're trash. Like God said about David, this is a man after my own heart. But then David was out here doing the most wildest stuff.
Yes, he got his sent Bathsheba's husband to be killed, like fam, and that was a man after God's own heart. So if you used to twerk or used to smoke, and God says you cool, then you cool. You ain't gonna hear nothing out of me. You understands me?
Yeah, man, I love that. What have you been learning from the pandemic? You said that you are trying to take the bright stuff out of it, but what else have you learned about yourself, about society, about
I learned that I have no discipline when it comes to eating healthy. I knew that, but this is like
drummed it in.
Blatantly obvious that one thing was helping me was rushing because I could make a quick thing. But if I'm just sitting at home and my wife just keeps cooking, I will just keep eating. I don't even have to be hungry to eat. I find that I'm not necessarily less busy, I'm just not traveling. So I enjoy work, I enjoy making content, shooting it, editing it, producing it, finding people for it, thinking of new ideas. So I've adjusted to busyness as much as I always do. I actually probably am busier now than I was before the tour, because when I was on tour, I would just sit around in my hotel room all day and wait for the show. But now that I'm at home, there's always something to cook, clean, shoot, edit, bother my kids or whatever. But I think during this time, I think a lot of us put pressure on ourselves to like do something, learn something, capitalize on this time. And I think we greatly underestimate how unusual this is for all of us. This is a once in 100 years thing. I think the last pandemic of this scale was in 1918. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we have to be like, I've got to learn how to play the piano before this. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot more bad news than usual. So just surviving. My friend said her therapist, she was talking to her therapist, and she was like, I just feel like if I don't swim, I'm going to sink. And her therapist was like, well, what if you just float? And she was like, like it was super revolutionary. It was a big revelation. It was an aha moment. It made her think. Like sometimes just floating is okay. I'm not necessarily killing it, but I'm also not drowning. And I think just getting through this pandemic should be all you're focused on. If you get through it and you're 20 pounds heavier or 20 pounds lighter, at the end of the day, you made it. And just getting through healthy and safe and good physical health and good mental health, I think that should be our only goal right now.
What would you say your latest lessons from God have been? Not even just in this time, just generally in life.
I think we were supposed to get a house. We were trying to buy a house, and we were about 3 weeks from closing. And due to coronavirus, the loan type that we had, which is for people who are self-employed, it didn't exist. So we lost the house. The lender changed their mind. We were stuck. And I think we think that everything's supposed to always turn out all right. Like everything's supposed to, eventually be good and it'll all work out. But I think sometimes things don't work out the way we thought they were going to, or when we thought they were going to. And that doesn't mean that God's not faithful. It doesn't mean that God doesn't love us. It just means that sometimes what we thought was for us wasn't for us at that time. And you have to still move forward and not know, it's not like we didn't get the house, but the next day they called us with a bigger house and it was less money. Like we always think that because that's how the songs go. But sometimes there's no good news around the corner and God is still faithful. You got to still get up and be thankful and be grateful. And, you're allowed to be sad, which we were. And then at some point you got to get up and get after it again. So, I don't know what the lesson is there, but I think it's that everything doesn't always work out the way we think it's going to, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that. That is true, because I think a lot of the times we all preach the message of there's a struggle, and at the end of the struggle, you're gonna get, $1 million and woo, but that you just don't sometimes, isn't it? And that's just life.
Sometimes things just suck.
Do you have any encouraging messages for our listeners or for our audience across our socials?
Oh yeah, I feel like just we're gonna get through this. This thing seems like it will never end and things will never be normal. But eventually we're going to get through this. Things might not be exactly the same way they were for a while, and some things might not be the same way ever, but that doesn't mean life won't go on. The world has had major wars, major pandemics, major natural disasters, and life always goes on. So eventually we'll get through this and be on the other side.
What are the top 3 people you always find in Black churches? Go.
The top 3 people?
Yes.
Growing up, there was the church mother. Your skirt is too tight and too short. Lap scarf for you, huh, daughter? Let me go ahead and lay this across your lap. There's the deacon who's been there since the first brick was laid. Pass me not, oh gentle Savior. Oh my God, hear my humble cry. There's a terribly behaved child. Their kids grow up in church. They be in there all day. They can't go nowhere. So they're just bad. The one thing they control is their behavior. So every church has those 3 people.
Yeah, the annoying kids are irritating.
Yeah.
I say that as sometimes I want kids and sometimes I'm like, do I want them?
You really gonna go back and forth, and it's a valid question. Is it even worth it? I ask myself every day, is it even worth it?
I feel like it has to be though, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah. Overall, the kids are good and it's better. But if you don't have kids, I also will not fault you nor blame you. It's a good choice.
What about when it says be fruitful and multiply?
We could be talking about apples, planting apples. You eat an apple and you plant the seeds, multiplies. I think kids are for people, and there aren't for people. Marriage is for some people and it ain't for some people. I just think it's everything ain't for everybody. That's what I do know.
I hear that. Do you think, oh gosh. Yeah, you think marriage isn't for everyone?
No, I don't think it is. Even in the Bible, I want to say Paul was like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm not going to be married. It ain't for me. And y'all do you. Jesus wasn't married. That's 2 of the 12 disciples. Jesus and Paul's like, I'm cool, bro. I can't.
They're 2 of the main ones as well, man.
2 of the main people was like,
the
I'm
main
good,
guy, the
bro.
Bible.
Yeah, I'm cool. And like Judas, like his parents, they got to be like, bro, Judas sold Jesus out. You got to deal with him at Thanksgiving. Well, I mean, he didn't last much longer after that, but still, you imagine how Judas' parents feel after that. They're like, man, our son is trash. They think they'd rather have Judas. I don't want Judas. This kid sucks. And you know he sucked as a kid too. He was probably a tattletale snitch. Nobody liked Judas from a child until his last day. That guy sucked.
Yeah, no, he did. I bet they're looking at Jesus thinking, why couldn't we have just had that one? Like,
right. This one dude. If he would have had Mike, if it was just like Mike instead of Judas, he would be straight.
Gosh. Do you have top 3 jokes? I know that you do a lot of dad jokes. What are your top 3 dad jokes?
I don't have a top 3. Here's the thing about dad jokes that people don't understand. They're all bad. People are like, oh, this one's especially terrible. They are all terrible. None of them are good. That is the point. They're supposed to be corny. They're supposed to be cringy. My personal favorite, though, I'll just give you one. How do cats like their steak? Rare. That is my favorite dad joke. It is so dumb and so funny. It is the best. Rare. It's just great. It's utterly perfect.
Yeah, that's a good dad joke.
That's my favorite one, bar none. And I didn't even come up with that one. My wife's friend sent that in, so I can't even take credit for the good one.
Do you make up your own dad jokes?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they're terrible, because you make them up and you just deliver them, and then you just never know. You don't know until you post it.
Can I tell you a couple of dad jokes? I'm not dad.
Of course.
But today my son asked, "Can I have a bookmark?" And I burst into tears. 11 years old, and he still doesn't know that my name is Brian.
See? It works, man.
I think that's quite a good I think that's quite a good joke.
I love it. I love it.
Might take that. Let me do one more. My wife is really mad at me at the fact that I spoke. No, my wife is really mad at me at the fact that I have no sense of direction. So I packed my stuff up and right.
Oh, that's a great one. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I'm adding that to my list. That one is absolutely, my wife gets mad at me for having no sense of direction. I'm
going to play a couple games, if that's all right. Okay. First one's called Guess That Gospel.
All right.
I'm going to hum a gospel song, and I want you to guess what it is.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Oh, Jesus said yes, nobody can say no.
That took you a long time, man. I thought you would have got that one.
I can't hear your accent when you hum made it kind of hard to understand.
I didn't know you could even have an accent when you hum. Okay, next one. Oh wait, how does it even go?
Oh, come on.
No, I got it. No, I got it.
I have no idea what this is.
Oh wow, maybe that was me. It was. And I will cling to the old rugged cross. Maybe you don't know that.
I don't know that
version.
You
know that? Wow.
No.
I didn't know that. No, okay, next one. I'm disappointed, man.
I have no idea what you are. I can't even recognize that as gospel music. I don't even know what is happening. What was that? What song was that?
There's a praise on the inside that I can't.
Oh, I would have never got that. A holla from the depths of my soul. There's so many music. It's so much music. It's hard to know. Okay, keep going. I need to get some right. I'm only 1 for 3 right.
Okay, let me think of another one.
Hey, J Moss, nice. I wouldn't think you would. I'm also thinking you're doing songs everybody knows. That's a J Moss album cut.
You know, I know my stuff. You know,
you
do. I know my stuff. Okay.
No idea. I don't even know gospel music apparently.
Are you even a Christian at this point? I don't even. Like, are you lying? You're not
I mysteriously do not recognize these songs as hum to me.
Let it be known that I got. Maybe you don't know this one. Maybe it's British.
Let it be known that what?
Our God saves. Our God can.
Is this DCM? Who's the artist?
KCJ.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, this has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too. Take care of yourself and your family. God bless.